Welcome to the Madison Miller podcast. Tonight's guest is a friend of mine. We do the What's Brewing and Hard Hits shows sometimes on Block Talk Radio. Those are hosted by our friends George Brew and Derek Felix, respectively. They've both been on this podcast, and now up is Dan Wheeler. How are you doing on this Monday night?
Madison, I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good. Right, I have you on today specifically because your favorite hockey team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, are in the Stanley Cup Final, which begins tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. So, give me your thoughts on this run to the Stanley Cup Final, or back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals for the Lightning, and what are your thoughts on this run, and did you think that they were going to make it back?
Well, I mean, they certainly were the favorites. I had confidence that they were going to make it back. I felt the defense was stronger than it was even last year, and the only game that surprised me with the Lightning, the Carolina series surprised me. I didn't think they'd beat them like that. Carolina's a fantastic team, and I just didn't think they'd take them in 5. But the game that surprised me the most was Game 6 of this series, because typically in these situations with Tampa, when they get into that elimination situation, whether it's home or whether it's on the road, they tend to close them out, especially when they got the 2-0 lead and basically made some bad errors and forced it to Game 7. They did close it out, so I felt good about them making it, especially Kucherov coming back. He's been out for the season, and one of my big worries with Kucherov was he going to gain that intensity that you need for the playoffs, and just instantly he just came. It's just instantly he showed that he can match up to the level that you need to in the playoffs. So that was a big surprise. That was one of my worries going in. But no, that's for granted. But I felt this team had every opportunity to go back to this spot.
Yeah, I felt that they had a good shot as well. It wasn't easy. I agree with you about the Carolina series. I actually picked the Canes in 7 in that series. I was wrong, although I thought it would be a hard-fought 7. And with home ice, I thought Carolina would win that series. And then I took Lightning in 6 against the Islanders. That ended up going 7. And Tampa won that in 7. The other game that surprised me in Tampa's run is less about Tampa and more about the way it unfolded because of the opponent. The Islanders beating them up 8-0 in Game 5 was, to me, that surprised me the most. Only because I just cannot picture a Barry Trotz team losing 8-0 in a playoff game. Did that result surprise you too?
Oh yeah, that was extremely exciting. I knew they were going to come out with some fire for that game, but I didn't think they were going to score 8 goals in that game, because everything hit right, and that's really their potential, is that when they are geared up, they can show up that performance. They're very dynamic offensively, like Colorado is, and you see Colorado a lot, scoring 7 and 8 goal games, because when it clicks, it really clicks.
Yep. And Colorado did that a lot in the regular season. Obviously, they lost to Vegas in the second round. Our friend George Brew's Vegas Golden Knights. Are you surprised that Montreal's in the final?
Yes and no. It's certainly surprising. They were like near 500 in the standings, but now in the fact that I felt they had some solid players, and they played teams tough. But the only one I'm really surprised about is that they got by Vegas, especially in 6. I thought if there was a way for them to beat them, it would be 7. But playoffs are a different monster, and um, besides it being a happy time for us fans in Tampa, it's even more so in Montreal because I think it's been since the
93.
in 93. 93 is the last time they went to the Stanley Cup, so it's a really exciting time for them. I know with the pandemic that went on, I'm hopeful for their fan base and some of their really good fans that they get the opportunity to see the game. So it's on Trudeau.
Yeah, very exciting times for both fan bases. Obviously, like you said, since '93 for Montreal, and then you guys, it's back to back. What is your pick in the series?
I think it's going to go 6. I think Tampa's going to finish it out. I think Tampa really, and I've had these conversations with a few of our friends regarding the series that they had against Columbus, where they got swept out, and they had the best record in the NHL. I think that was a defining moment for Tampa because it embarrassed them so much that just locked them laser focused into it, and they figured out with these really good teams that try to figure out how to win in these situations. I think they figured it out after that moment. So I think the experience is going to come a long way. I think Montreal will take a couple games. They might even take tonight. Tampa tends to give up the first game, like last series.
Yep.
The Islanders took game 1 in Tampa. But the main thing is I think in the end, Tampa's going to prevail. I think Tampa has more talent, and I think they are way more disciplined, and that will show up in the end.
I agree with you. I took Tampa in 6. It was like just above 4-1 on DraftKings, and I probably gonna bet it as soon as we're done with this show. But yeah, I agree with you. Everything. I think the difference in this series is actually that Tampa is just more talented than Montreal from a forward standpoint. Montreal's defense is really good. I think it's done a great job. And Carey Price, to me, has to be the favorite for the Conn Smythe at this point. Do you think Price wins it, or do you think that'll go to somebody on Tampa, assuming that you guys win?
Vasi's had a great amount of shutouts. He's closed 3 series with a shutout. So you certainly can't forget about Andrei Vasilevsky. I don't know the number exactly, but I think it's been like 4 or 5 shutouts in these playoffs. And if he performs to that similar level and has another shutout or 2, especially if they close out the final game with a shutout and they do win, yeah, you give him the award. Kucherov certainly is a contender and also Braden Point. Braden Point, I think, leads everybody in goals in the playoffs. So lots of contenders on Tampa's side.
Yeah, I am going to say that there's going to be a little bit of a history here. I'm going to say that Price gets it in a losing effort only because Montreal's in the final as an 8, or I almost said an 8 seed, as like the worst team in terms of points and whatnot. I think that they might give it to Price. But Tampa wins, and I'm going to say it's like Tampa wins Game 6 in overtime on a goal by like Stamkos or something like that. And I'm going to say they give it to Price. Just like that, if the Rangers-Kings series in 14 went 6 or 7, I think that Lundqvist would have won the Conn Smythe even if the Rangers lost that series. I had a conversation with Derek about that once. How if that Rangers series went 6 or 7, then I think that Hank would have won the Conn Smythe despite the Rangers losing. So I think that Carey Price does it because of the Canadians being in the finals and stuff. I just have this gut feeling because to me the league tends to give it to like the star player. Like LeBron James gets the Finals MVP whenever his teams win. I know the exception is Stephen Curry with the Warriors because Durant was on there and somehow Andre Iguodala won it in 15. But in hockey, of late, the trend has been giving it to the star player. Like Ovechkin won it in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, for the Blues, it was Ryan O'Reilly, but that was different. I'm trying to think of. Do you remember who won Conn Smythe last year?
I want to say it's Hedman because he had so many goals.
Yeah, that would make sense. He's your best. He's your best player. So, or him or Stamkos, depending on how you feel. I think it's Hedman. I love Hedman. He's the best defenseman in the league. So, yeah, like the NHL's kind of to me copied the NBA in terms of give like the Finals MVP / Conn Smythe trophy to either the best player on the winning team or the best player of the series. But I think they're going to go best player, like, give Montreal their respect. But I think there's going to be a lot of low-scoring games in this series as well. So I could see a world where, like, Montreal outplays Tampa in a couple games, but Tampa wins and just beats Montreal. Like, similar to how some of the Vegas games played out against Montreal. Like, how Montreal outplayed Vegas in Game 4 and Vegas won. I could see a lot of games being like that, except it's Tampa coming out on top rather than Vegas or Montreal. All right, so the Tampa Bay Rays, where things stand right now, are they tied with the Sox or are they in second?
I want to say the last time I looked, they're like a game or half a game. They're really close to Boston.
Very close to Boston. They are half game back to Boston. You're tied in the win column. You have one extra loss to Boston, so one back in the loss column. What are your thoughts on the Rays so far this season? I think they're in good shape, despite the Glasnow injury.
They've exceeded expectation. For me, I thought this was going to be, because of all the trades they made, a drop-off year, but the Rays just churning. They really are looking very good, and Wander Franco being called up is, I think it was a really good time for the Rays because they were going through a big losing streak, and they needed a spark, and I think Franco is that guy, and especially that first game, even though they lost to Boston. It was pretty cool seeing him hit a 3-run homer. I mean, he hit that ball close to ankle.
Yeah.
Like it was sick. It was sick. I remember like I've been waiting on this guy for a long time to be called up, and I think it's a big deal that they got him called up, and he's getting some experience and the playing time during a very crucial point of the season. So it's only going to help him out, and he's doing okay. He had a really good first game, but he's doing okay. So, I mean, it's going to be an even flow as far as his production, and that goes for most rookies. They do really good at times, they do really bad at times. It's just about getting. And another thing a lot of people forget: he's 20 years old. He is 20 years old, making going into this spot. It's a really big deal that he is in this position this quickly, and they have a lot of faith in him. putting him in the lineup. I think they've put him in the lineup starting every day since he's been called up. So, as far as the pitching goes, that was the bigger surprise. I mean, I didn't see Waka. I know he got hurt eventually, of course. And Rich Hill. I didn't expect them to pitch as well as they do. But then again, I really should have because of how well Tampa does that. And really, they have a nice system that they turn out between the Major League squad and the minor league squad. They have a fine, well-oiled machine ready to go. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens down the stretch for the Rays.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting race between in the AL East with you guys in Boston, and if the Yankees can ever turn it around, that would be make it even more of a fun American League East race. Tyler Glass now. Do you think we're going to see him at all this rest of the season? Because I know there's been reports about Tommy John and him not wanting to do it, and that he might be back. What do you make about Tyler Glass now's situation?
I think it's going to predicate on where they are in the standings, to be real honest with you. And also the severity of the injury. They would have already taken him out if it was indeed Tommy John. Like you don't mess around with that. So it makes me think it's a little it's less severe than a Tommy John surgery. But when you're playing well, you're in a better position to sit somebody for a while. Like, for instance, with Tampa, with Kucherov, they had such a great position for them to still play very well without him, so that Kucherov could get fully rested. So for Glass now, the important thing is, and if they continue well, then, and if they continue playing very well, then they will be a playoff team, and that's when they're going to really need them. So I think just wait and see on that one and see where they are in the standings, if whether they rush them back or not.
Yeah, I think that it depends on where they are in the standings as well. Do you think the team makes a move at the deadline to make themselves better and to try to pull away from Boston and New York a little bit?
I don't know. The Rays typically have never really done that, but I guess it's just going to be depending if they feel good with the arms that are coming up. I mean, I know they have some guys that they really like that are in their minor leagues. And I know the Rays really don't want to, during the season, give up their young arms. So, I don't have a good answer for you on that one. If I have to say, they probably won't do anything at the deadline, and they'll probably just call up somebody from the minors.
I won't be shocked if they make some minor moves to try to maybe improve their offense a little bit. Because I know they shipped out Adames, but that made sense because of Franco. First base, it's a little bit of like a platoon situation. I don't think J-Man Choice is on the team, is he?
Yeah, G-Man's there.
G-Man's there. Didn't they get rid of somebody else? Or no, they traded away Nate Lau. Didn't they trade away Lau?
Yes, but they picked up Mike Ford.
Oh, that's right.
Yankees.
That's right. Has he played yet for the Rays?
I haven't heard from him.
I don't think he has either.
They might be focusing on him in the minors, if I'm correct. But I haven't heard much from him, so I'm gonna say he's in the minors.
Yeah, maybe he is in the minors. All right. let's transition to one of your other favorite teams. That is the Charlotte Hornets, who I thought had a very successful season this past year, making the play-in game. LaMelo Ball winning the Rookie of the Year. What are your thoughts on the Hornets going forward after what I thought was a successful season for them?
Oh, I'm ecstatic of how they improved. I'm ecstatic with what LaMelo Ball brought to the team. Um, it's bringing a great. It's starting to build the framework for the future because the thing is Ball showed even better of a shot than I thought he had. It's not that he shot the world great, but he shot halfway decent, and I didn't see that coming. I knew he was going to be a playmaker and he was going to do well in that department, but I didn't anticipate the shooting was going to come around so quick. And really, I think this is going to be the since the Hornets came back when they were the Bobcats to now the Hornets, the new version. I think he's their first star that is going to come out, and that's going to be very important because of the star-driven league. And the thing is eventually they're going to need to get, just like any of these great teams, they're going to need to get good pieces around there, and the chances are that teams are going to want to come to a team that has a guy like Ball that is very selfless and facilitates, and he just plays to the flow of the game. But Miles Bridges played really well. He stepped up. He stepped up so much that there is quote-unquote talk that if they get the right deal on Gordon Hayward, they will ship him off. But yeah, they're going to get some big man help really bad. That's one thing that's missing with the team. But and also Rozier really stepped up, and he was way more efficient than he ever has been. But that's another question on whether to sell high on that, or do you really believe Terry Rozier has turned the corner? But main thing is, they got some interesting questions in the offseason, but as far as this season goes, it didn't end the way I would have liked, obviously, but I like where they're heading.
Me too. I mean, LaMelo, I think, is the kind of guy that your team needed, like that future star that gets everybody excited. I think Michael Jordan has to be thrilled with LaMelo. I mean, he's just awesome. I mean, I think that guy might be an all-star next season. Like, that would not shock me whatsoever. All right, let's talk about the fourth of your favorite teams that we have yet to discuss, and that's the Carolina Panthers. They've had an interesting offseason, acquiring Sam Darnold and making some other moves as well. What were your thoughts on the Panthers offseason, and where do you think that they could be come the fall?
Well, I mean, they did nice. They did nice in parts the first season under Matt Rule. I really like him. I think if there's enough patience that something good will come from this. The rookies that they drafted, especially Brown, and mostly highlighting Jeremy Chin, defense started to really turn around in the second half of the year. Of course, McCaffrey missed a lot of time, but really they put them. They had to resign him. They had to sign that deal with him because you can't really sell your fan base on letting go somebody like McCaffrey. But there is precedent in the fact that these star running backs, if you're building a team around that, then you typically don't have great success with that. As I think the last time that there was a elite in their prime running back in the Super Bowl, God, I want to say Sean Alexander. That was a long time ago.
Probably.
So the Bridgewater thing didn't work out. Sam Darnold is economical this year, so he'll get an opportunity with a different organization to see if they can get the most out of him. I think he's there for 2 years, guaranteed. So really this season will be important to see where he's at and whether they need to go into the draft, in the upcoming draft, and get a quarterback or whatever they need to do. But as far as where I see them at, I don't think they made enough significant improvements to make a big jump. I still see them as and I forget there's an extra game now.
Yep.
But I still want to say they're a 7 to 8 win team. I don't know if Darnold is that much of an improvement. But he has some rapport with Robbie Anderson. He did pretty well with him when Robbie was on the Jets.
Yep.
But I think they're a 7 to 8 win team. I hope for more, obviously, but realistically, I don't think they have the talent to be for this to be a playoff team right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think it's like a 7 to me is the right number for the Panthers. And I like Matt Rule, too. I think he did a nice job with the Panthers last season. And I think that they'll show improvement this year, but I don't know if it'll translate necessarily into that many wins and that big of a jump. All right, you're a big NASCAR guy. Have you watched a lot this season?
Not really, but I did kind of read about the last race, and that was quite amazing with Kyle Busch. Not a fan particularly of his, but it's pretty impressive when your car's stuck in the fourth gear and your shifter his clutch. That's it, the clutch.
Yep.
Wasn't working. It's really impressive to finish out and win that race. So, no.
Didn't you go to one?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Didn't you go to a race?
Yeah, that's where I was heading to. So, I did go to the Coca-Cola 600. After my thing is after I won that thing last year. I'm going to go every year. That's my tribute to them for giving me such great fortune. But that was a boring race. God, that's so boring. Like there was barely any accidents or delays or anything. And realistically, that is part of the reason that NASCAR is really fascinating. But on the other end, there wasn't like a lot of changes in there. Like Kyle Larson led a majority of the race, and I believe he won the race.
I think he won the race he went to as well. He's been the best driver this year, amazingly enough, which is wild.
Well, not really, Madison. Larson was a really immensely talented guy. he said something really stupid.
Yep.
And got him booted out. But that ended up being a blessing in disguise because he got into the best car that you can humanly get in Hendrick. So he backed into an amazing situation.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought Kyle Larson was a good driver and one of the best ones, but little did I expect him to be like the best driver this year. I thought that Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin were gonna be like neck and neck, and like some of the up and coming guys as well. I thought were gonna make a push as well, like Alex Bowman and people like that. And then Larson, I think it's amazing that he is on this great run. Kind of reminiscent of Kevin Harvick last year, except obviously Harvick, a veteran that's been around for a long time and it just was hot for so long last year, although he did not win the championship. It kind of reminds me of that, except that Larson's still young and Kevin Harvick is a veteran at this point in his career. Before we go, when's the next time we're gonna do a What's Brewing or a Hard Hits show? Any word on that? Because I certainly have not been in the loop.
I have no idea, to be honest. I'm focused on my new job, my 9 to 5. It's a nice situation. I don't really stay up too late, obviously, because
Right.
I gotta wake up and get to work by 8:30. So there's that. I'm trying to set up my new business. Hopefully, my business will start up on the 4th of July. So that would be good.
Gotta keep us posted on that.
Repeat that. I'm sorry.
I said gotta keep us posted on that.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Best of luck.
I'm hoping that. Thanks. So I don't know on my end when I'll do that. I think just our messenger chat is about the best I'm going to get on that one.
Yeah, Brew hasn't been around in a minute, so that's probably what's like holding back like the shows that we did like during COVID last year on Friday and Saturday nights. Those were a lot of fun. I was listening to one the other night that Sanborn hosted. Shouts to Brian Sanborn. I'd love to have that guy on the podcast. He's never been on, Brian. But I remember Brian hosted and like Derek and Brew were on and like I didn't finish the episode, but I don't remember if I was on it or not. It was around the time of the Super Bowl and hockey was starting. I don't know if you were on it either, but it was a while back. So yeah, we definitely gotta have like a reunion type of show.
Yeah, it would be nice. Personally, I just got a lot on my plate right now, and then on top of it, when sports season really starts, Lord has blessed me with the ability to be a season ticket holder now for the Panthers and the Hornets, so I'll be involved in that. And
Yep.
I love that my new job gets out at 5:30 so that I can just head straight to the stadium and park. So, yeah, just got, no pun intended, I got a lot brewing also.
That's so funny. I love that we ended on the word brewing because of What's Brewing. All right, Dan, it was a pleasure to have you on today. I'll certainly have you back on again soon to catch up.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me, and thought it went well.
Yeah, all right. Talk to you soon.